Swimbait.
Fishing on the Menominee River has been great this summer as usual. We're catching a lot of smallmouth, a lot of good quality fish. One big difference. Normally in the summer, we go out day after day after day and we're banging nice smallmouth with topwater baits. There's been days, starting in the morning, catching with topwater baits all day till we quit. However, been a little different this year. The fishing has been good, but the topwater action has been sporadic to say the best. Why has it been so different? We just had a series of fronts. It seemed like every couple, 2-3 days, the weather's changing. You get these little fronts come through. We got northwest, northeast winds. We got a little bit of chop on the water. It's just not the good conditions for a good topwater bite. However, thank God for swim baits, because they've been saving the day, and we've been pounding fish from the morning throughout the day with swim baits. Pretty simple pattern. We go out in the morning, we're fishing grass, submerged weeds, and even some slop areas we're catching them with. We catch them with swim baits. They won't touch it with a topwater bait. Throw that swim bait out there, bang, we're catching fish. About the middle of the day, what happens is the grass can still be productive if you have an overcast day. By all means, if you've got overcast conditions, you can catch smallmouth and weeds all day long. But generally, we get the sunlight about 11 o'clock. I leave the weeds alone. I move over into the rocks, and guess what? We're pounding them again with swim baits. The only thing difference is when I'm fishing rocks, is I use the swim bait to locate fish. You know, bang, bang, soft plastics like tubes. It's not good baits for locating fish. But I'll find them. My search bait is my swim bait. We catch a bunch with that. And I usually have one of my clients switch over to, Case Magic stick rigged wacky style, or something on that order, or jack's worm even, and we're catching fish. And then my ace in a hole is sometimes in the middle of the day, sometimes even in the morning. I'm not doing well in the grass. I'm not catching them in the rocks. What do? I switch to wood. Wood, even when dropping water conditions, a lot of fishermen on rivers, they see that low water conditions and they think, oh, them smallmouth aren't in that wood. The key is to find wood in the current. So what happens is they'll lay right on the edge of the current break, backside of that wood, and you target a swim bait, make a good cast with a swim bait. Don't start randomly casting to cover as much water as you possible. Stop, think, make your cast, look for that current break, that seam on the associated with wood. You're not going to catch a lot of smallmouth that way, but I'll tell you, most of the fish I catch there are like 18, 19, even 20-inch fish. So swim baits allow you to cover a lot of water, but it also, if you're having trouble in the summertime, just sometimes locating fish, it's hard to beat a swim bait. I'm talking about fishing rocks, particularly mid-river rock structure, not so much shoreline rocks, and I'm using swim baits. A lot of people ask me, how are you using swim baits over that 2-3 foot or even a foot of water? Rocks sometimes even got a little bit of grass in there. It's deadly, holds a lot of smallmouth, and swim baits are very deadly, but you've got to be able to match your jig head with your swim bait. The biggest mistake most people make is they use a swim bait that's too heavy and are getting hung up a lot. This particular one that I use a lot, it's only a 1/16 ounce, but it's got, you notice it's got the longer shank, which can allow me get me closer to my hook set when that fish grabs the tail. But even though it's still got a light jig head, I'm still retrieving it. As soon as it hits the water, I'm buzzing it steady retrieve, and I catch a lot of fish that way. If hang-ups are still a problem, or if I start encountering a lot of grass in the rock, then I work it weedless. How do I work it weedless? I got a 2/0 spear point wide gap hook. It's got the V-grip, like all spear point hooks have. Believe me, they hit that thing, they come flying out of the water 3-4 times, you're not going to throw the hook. So try, working your swim baits just with no weight at all. If I want to get it down just a little bit, sometimes I'll take a little bullet weight, a tungsten, bullet weight, like kind of a light one, or even sometimes just a split shot, just enough to maybe get it down so it stays maybe about 6-8 inches below the water. I'll even do that with a larger swim bait such as this one. Sometimes I work this the same way. This has got a 4/0 spear point hook, and the same thing, that V-grip. I don't lose any fish that way. Very, very important. But I could work it in that upper 20% of that water column, and maybe down about 8 inches, And the same thing, if I want to get it down just a little bit, I can put a small little split shot to get that down just a little bit, but you don't want to get too much because then you're going to go down into the weeds. But many times just buzzing over the top of them weeds is going to catch you some big fish.